is law, and that was very hard to develop. And then we've got the secure virtual learning environment. The platform that we have has just gone live, and the 122 courses available to the students, 104 of them are on that platform, available to prisoners in prison that has access. And that access can come via the virtual campus or different networks or other OU devices. So the mobile learning, 300 devices being trialled, but 30 of them are currently working in 2 prisons. They're tablets. We're hoping to use some laptops as well. I'm moving on quickly because I want to get to the next bit. Australia are good as well. They're working very hard, very similar to us, not been going as long, but they also have a lot of students. They are offline rather than online, but still give their students a real experience. That's the University of Southern Queensland. If you want to find out anything, please contact Helen. She'd be very happy to talk to you. Portugal also have gone that route. I was talking to people, if anybody was there on Monday, I was talking to the people who are developing it here. The 3 prisons in Porto and Portugal Open University has a secure platform like the Open University in England. A few courses now, but they're only just beginning their journey. But technology is not all we need. We need space. We need space in prison. We need a culture of learning. And that only happens with a good manager in charge. And it doesn't happen very often. There's some good research being done by other people in Australia. Fiona McGregor there, if you please contact her if you're interested in spaces for learning in a prison. She'd be very happy to speak to you. The research that she's done is showing that desistance from crime is very closely linked to education. That the research results that she has mirror mine almost exactly. Norway is amazing. Scandinavia have been ahead of the game all the way. But Norway, I went to this prison, and at that blog spot, I don't blog very often, but I had to blog this. The degree of civilization in a society can be judged by entering its prisons, for sure. This prison, I went to that computer room, I sat down and I logged into my Open University account at the UK. They have full internet access and nothing happens. The sky did not fall in. It works. But that's too good a story. I can't leave you with that good story. It's not as good as that. The worst findings, when they're released, it was not good. It was not good at all. The stigma for people who have been in prison was terrible. They were not seen as students anymore. They were seen as ex-convicts. They didn't have technology. Some people who had a laptop before they went in, it didn't work when they came out. They had no money to buy a phone. They had nothing. Chaos, too many things happening. Frustration because they were good when they were in prison. They saw a view. They saw another life, but that wasn't happening. Their positive student identity was severely challenged, and there was no support. 2 sad stories. Nina was a university student before she went to prison. She was only 22. She was traumatized by prison, but she said the Open University actually saved her life. She was thinking of committing suicide. But she did do study, and she did work hard at it. All she wanted to do when she left prison was to go back and finish her degree, the final year. Then Reese, he was in trouble from a very early age with the police, and he'd been in and out of prison. But this time, he decided that he would do some study. He wanted to learn psychology so that he would find out about himself. He also discovered that he was a talented artist. Post-release, Nina came out. She had no technology. She was given a very bad time by people because she'd been to prison. The university rejected her. They said no, she could not come back to university because she'd been to prison. I actually got intervened in that case, and I went to see the dean, and she did go back. But if I hadn't been there, she wouldn't have done. The bank closed her student loan because she was no longer a student, so she owed lots of money. She was very disillusioned. This should be speaking to you. This should be Nina speaking, but the audio doesn't work. But basically she said, actually I don't see myself as a student anymore. Others have taken that title away from me. It feels like basically an ex-convict that's a loss to society. Rees also had a very bad time when he came out of prison. His health reduced. He had to stop working because he was in bed and breakfast, he was no accommodation, and he had to give up his job. He was going to go back. He came out and he said, there have been days when I thought, sod it, I'm going to go out and do something to say I'm going to go back to prison. So it's easier there. It's easier. But he didn't, because he'd been learning. This time he was learning, and he'd reflected. He could now see that that was not the way to go. In the end, he was saved by a company that does a lot of good work called Timpson's in the UK, and they took him on as they do shoes. They gave him a house and some money and a job. But in time, a lot of the students did go back to their studies, given help, given support after release. Having done the education, those that maintained hope and the positive identity actually integrated more successfully. And the last word is from an ex-prisoner, a graduate, who's working for a charity supporting education in prison. I don't think this is going to work either, but this is what he said. It might seem like a cliche, it might seem like a poem, but actually, education leads to liberation. Obrigada.
Thank you. Muito obrigada. Espero que anotem as questões que certamente esta belíssima comunicação vos ocasionou, e vamos passar já à segunda apresentação.
Você sabia que eu fiz isso?
Muito boa tarde, sou Jair, sou da Universidade Federal do Rio Grande do Norte, no Brasil, do Instituto Metrópole Digital. Primeiramente eu queria agradecer pela satisfação de estar aqui presente nessa mesa, agradecer o convite do professor Rochette. Tem sido para mim uma experiência magnífica estar participando desse evento, bastante interdisciplinar, tenho aprendido bastante aqui ouvindo as intervenções dos diversos nomeados pesquisadores e palestrantes, muito bom. E peço desculpa por estar mudando de um tema tão tocante como colocado aí pela minha antecessora Pike, mas vim aqui cumprindo uma missão, convidado pelo professor Rochette, e apresentar um pouco do meu instituto, dos projetos que nós estamos planejando, já estamos iniciando a fazer em comum. Parte dele foi apresentado hoje pela manhã pela professora Betânia, minha colega que está aqui presente. E iniciando a minha fala com a rápida apresentação, depois eu quero um pouco falar dos nossos projetos dentro do Instituto Metrópole Digital. É muito mais uma comunicação, esse é o papel de trazer um pouco do nosso trabalho, abrir oportunidades de colaboração com a universidade e com outros colegas que estejam aqui, que possam também se interessar pelos nossos trabalhos, né? E, finalmente, eu quero, se houver tempo, fazer uma pequena provocação. Sou da área de tecnologia, como vocês podem ver aí nesse meu primeiro slide. Eu sou da área de computação, tenho toda a minha formação em computação. embora na minha pós-graduação eu atuei na fronteira com o lado humano, dessa disciplina que em inglês chama Human Computer Interaction, que nós traduzimos no Brasil literalmente por interação humano-computador, eu não sei exatamente como se usa aqui em Portugal, e tenho particularmente interesse no design de software, na concepção de produtos e como ele afeta a vida das pessoas, né? Então, particularmente, eu tenho tido um grande interesse atualmente nos aspectos sociais que são acontecidos pela intervenção da tecnologia na vida das pessoas. Então, eu quero terminar um pouco a minha fala no final, colocando algumas questões para a nossa reflexão, né? Eu também sou membro da Sociedade Brasileira de Computação, onde atuo na Comissão de Educação, tendo sido responsável lá no Brasil por criar referenciais de formação na área de computação, embora isso não seja um tema que eu vá tratar aqui nessa fala. Então, para quem não